Marketing is one of the most difficult areas in a new business. And the reason for it, everybody goes to stores and buys stuff, so they think they know. Wrong. When I was at General Foods, one of the biggest problems we had is we were in New York. That meant we were representative of nothing. The people working there had gone to Harvard or Stanford, and they were representative of nothing. So the key thing is you have to have a sense of otherness, not what you want, but what your market wants. And the marketing task is critical. I think, and MIT, Edwin Roberts, who's a very distinguished writer on small companies things, having a marketing person on the initial team is absolutely critical. And this is not a flunky, this is a partner. Absolutely critical to success. Well, it makes sense because marketing sets the mission. What are you trying to do? You can't spend a lot of time refining this in small ways, but you must understand the basic task. First, you have to check out your customer. Who's your customer? One of the biggest problems people have is they ignore their real customer. Who's their real customer? A distributor or a retailer. The consumer can't buy it if the retailer doesn't have it. An end user can't buy it if the distributor doesn't have it. So in two-step distribution, you have two customers, the retailer and the ultimate consumer. Both have to be taken into consideration. Consumer profiles are important. You have to understand who's actually going to buy one of these. The disaster of the Edsel is everybody said they liked it, nobody said they wanted to buy it. One thing about marketing is you have to be tough on yourself about product concepts. The most common thing I see is people have a great idea, it costs about twice what you want to pay for it. And everybody misses something. When you're looking at the money you have, you've got a lot of things to use it on. And again, Peter Drucker in Managing for Results. Markets are both smaller and bigger than we think. Smaller in the sense of Mercedes don't compete with Hyundais, but Mercedes do compete with European vacations. So your market is both broader and smaller than you think. And you have to be real tough on yourself about the price. Stop thinking so much about the glory. The biggest problems I find is A, it's unneeded. You want to have something that has a primary market and people are buying. When we did CDs, there were $350 million worth of them sold in our area and budget when I got into the business. That means that somebody, someplace, is buying something every day. When I did strollers, people were buying $1 million a year in the US alone. We did UPSs, people were buying $500 million. So you need something that people are buying. The second biggest problem is it's great, but it costs too much. No, it's great and it's less than everything else. That's important. And the three companies that I've been successful in, each one has been a low-cost producer, and each one has been at the low end of the market in terms of prices. Good stuff, cheap. It works. Third thing is it can't be readily duplicated. If it's too easy to duplicate and doesn't have anything going for it, you're in trouble because you'll be knocked off. Insufficient market. There's a great story about Corning. They came up with target sites for telescopes. And they came up with this wonderful idea they were going to make these. And they made them, and they sent up some samples. And they sent them to the biggest telescope guy. That was enough for 20 years. The point is it a market worth doing? Is it large enough? Is there repeat business? The final point is, can it be done? There are too many high-tech deals that cannot be done. It's like an Indian paddling towards the sunset. They keep paddling, the sunset's still out there. Can it be done? It's really a good idea to get something that you've got in the can, you've got a prototype, and it can be done. As far as product selection is concerned, if you look at a grid, think of it in a way of existing, predictable, and possible across two axes. This is in the text. What you really want, the sweet spot in this tennis racket, is the existing product that's predictable. In other words, a slight line extension. Peter Drucker in Innovation and Entrepreneurship lays out 7 areas that are great to be in. The absolute worst is the great invention. Too complicated, too hard, you're never going to get it done. And by the way, that's why they make the news, because you can't do it.